In a storm, Dany has a dream where she is riding a dragon on the trident, which is followed by her talking to Quaithe. If we try to look at what is Quaithe's motivation by coming to Dany, we can guess, just like every other character in the story, she wants to get something from Dany. And at this point in the story, she has two reasons. The first reason is the easiest to understand. Quaithe wanted Dany to go to Ashai, and Dany didn't listen to her. So she came again to show she has real power, and Dany should listen to her, to get Dany to go to Ashai. The second reason is mostly connected to the timing of Quaithe's visit. We don't know a lot about the Ashai people, but we know they have slaves, and they use magic. We know the strongest kind of magic is blood magic. We also know Ashai is one of the cities that is famous for their shadowbinders who use blood magic. So we can assume that a lot of the Ashai people, including Quaithe, use blood magic. And the easiest way to get their sacrifices is by using slaves. Quaithe goes to Dany right before the sack of Astapor, and before Dany goes to war against Slaver's Bay, to show she has real magic, and reminding Dany about a prophecy that says she should go to Ashai. Dany is in the wrong place, going the wrong way. And if we look at the vision Quaithe gives Dany in her last chapter in Dance, it also follows the same thought, to leave the slaver cities alone, but in Dance Quaithe started to look more at Westeros instead of Ashai. Now, this dream and what Quaithe tells Dany about it give us a lot about the others and the way we should look at their magic. Also, the things that happened in the dream are connected to Jon's story. Jon dreams the others are climbing the wall, and in Dany's dream they reached the trident. Jon dreams his armor was made of ice, and in Dany's dream the rebel host was armed with ice. This is Dany's first encounter with the dead. Dany thinks she knows she is dreaming, but another part of her thinks the other was a nightmare, meaning her life, and she have just awakened. This is about how she wants the reality of if the Targaryen won the trident, which is contrasted with Jon's first encounter with the dead. He thinks he's in a nightmare, but he knows he's not sleeping. After the dream, Quaithe tells Dany they sleep. We can tell this is not about Eri and Jiqui because in Dance, Quaithe also says they sleep, when Dany calls for Missandei, Eri and Jiqui, and Missandei wasn't asleep. The important thing here is Quaithe saying even dragons must sleep, and dragons are a source of magic. Quaithe is making a comparison between the dragons and the sleepers, making whoever the sleepers are, they are another source of magic. This leads us to the sleepers, and how does it connect with the Northern story? Because this whole dream is about connecting Dany's story to Jon and the others. The first thing that comes to mind when thinking about the sleepers are the children. However, they are not the only creatures that are asleep in the north, because the northern story gives us a lot of sleepers. There are the others who were there 8,000 years ago. They were not defeated in the past, and no one knows what happened to them. They are mostly a sleeping power. We also have the Shades the Free Folk unleashed when they opened the graves beyond the wall. Shades in the story are mostly used by characters as a synonym to ghosts. There is also the ghost of the Starks who are buried in the crypts of Winterfell. And there is the connection between death and sleep. When Melisandre thinks sleeping is just a small death. And Theon thinks death is an endless sleep. Immediately after, dreaming about the dead Starks. And there is the Horn of Winter that wakes the sleepers. Now, Quaithe say they sleep when talking to Danny about the others. And we have a horn that wakes the sleepers in the north. Most people connect the horn to the children, but if we look at what the horn is supposed to do, it mostly fits with waking the others. The horn is supposed to raise giants and bring down the wall. Most of the giants are dead, and the others can raise the dead. The wall's power comes from the spells in it, spells that are connected to ice. And the only creatures we know about that use ice magic are the others. Now we can just look for crazy magical things that can happen to break the wall. However, I always think the simplest answer is always the right answer. The wall is made of ice, so the others can use their ice magic to get rid of it. After all, the characters who think the wall is there to stop the others are simply guessing. Finally, an important thing to take from this chapter is that Quaithe didn't give Danny a vision. Danny had a dream that tells the future, just like John's dreams tells him the future. And Jamie's dreams bring his ghosts back to life to give him hints about the future. The only magic Quaithe shows in this chapter is her ability to appear to Danny. In dance, Quaithe comes to Danny and warns her about people who are coming to her. So, let's take a look at the whole conversation between them. Who are the people Quaithe is talking about? What is the danger they represent? And what is the goal in this visit? Danny hears something and calls for Missandei, Eerie, and Cheeky, thinking it must be one of them. But Quaithe answers by saying they sleep. Now, that they sleep in here is not about the girls, because this conversation ends because Missandei wasn't asleep. And Quaithe says Danny's guard can't see her. So the people around Danny are not the sleepers. And it resembles a lot the They Sleep from Storm. If we look at the warning, we can see it is made of pairs. Every pair are coming together, and in every pair there is a player and a pawn. There is also the similarities between all the pawns. They don't think about how they are being used, or what is the value the players are getting by keeping them alive. Tyrion is the only one who gets close to asking that question, but he justifies Jon Con keeping him alive because he's a Lannister. All the pawns want to be dragon riders, or at least hope to be. Now, this may look like breaking the connection between the pawns, because the slaves didn't have a hope of being dragon riders, but King Cleon did. He wanted to marry Danny, which is the way to get a dragon. The glass candles are burning, which is a thing that already happened in both the warning and in Old Town. The pale mare is the plague. The others are the slavers coming to Marine. The others in here are mostly looked at as the other people coming to Danny, Jon Con, Tyrion, and Victarion. However, there is a clear pattern in the prophecy. Every end in the prophecy is connecting a player and a pawn, and they are coming together. Danny shouldn't trust this pair because the slavers want war, and there is nothing Danny could give them that will change anything. Kraken is Victarion, who is a pawn for Dark Flame, the Red Priest, and they are coming together. Danny shouldn't trust them because even though they both want Danny to be the queen, They both want to steal her power to get their own goals. And both of them have no intent in helping Dany with anything she wants. Victarion wants to be the king, be a dragon rider, and get revenge against the Crozai. Not only that, he have no intention about helping Dany in any of her goals, but he's going to her doing everything she is going to war against. Makoro may look like someone who is on Dany's side. However, he's not. He wants to use Dany by making her the figure of the Red Temple to spread their religion and get closer to the dragons. The Red Temple has no intention in helping Dany in any way. Sure, they are preaching for her in the streets. However, the religion of the Red God is extremely supportive of the slave trade, to the point that most of the priests use the title Slaves of the Red God. The Red Temple have extreme power in Volantis, and Volantis is one of the cities that are helping the slavers against Dany. Also, it is not the first time the Red Temple tried to spread their religion by getting closer to the Targaryens. They sent Thoros to get closer to King Aerys, and he stayed in the Seven Kingdoms under Robert. Makoro going to Dany is like Thoros going to the Seven Kingdoms, except Dany is a warrior queen with the dragons, so they sent a higher member of their order. The lion is a drunken Tyrion who lost everything, who is at that point in the story Jon Con's pawn, and they are coming together. Tyrion have no intention in helping Dany in anything. He simply wants to get her to conquer the Seven Kingdoms, so he can get his revenge, and maybe get a dragon. Jon Con also wants to use Dany. All what he sees in her is a way to legitimize Egg, and to secure his kingship. When Dany didn't come to meet them, they ignored her, and went to Westeros. She is simply a tool for him. Also, he wants to give Aegon a dragon. The son's son is Quentyn Martell, who is a pawn. He was sent to Dany as his father's pawn, but also he was House Yornwood's pawn, and the people inside of Meereen were using him as a pawn. Which leads us to, who is the Mummer's dragon? Well, I don't know, but I know it's not Aegon. Every pair in the prophecy has something to do with each other, or they are coming together, and every pair is made of a pawn and a player who are connected. Quentyn didn't know about Aegon being alive, and he's not coming with him. On the other hand, Aegon didn't know that Quentyn was going to Meereen, and he's not playing Quentyn. Also, from what we see from Jon Con's chapters after reaching Westeros, Aegon is not letting people control him. He's keeping Duck with him even when he's alone with Jon Con. He took Tyrion's advice about not trusting anyone to heart, and he's not letting himself be anyone's dragon. So, it is either this is the only part that breaks the pattern in the prophecy, or the Mummer's dragon is someone inside of Meereen who is using Quentyn. Maybe even someone who's claiming to have the blood of the dragon from the Targaryen bastards to the people who trace their blood to Old Valyria. This leads us to remember the undying, beware the perfumed seneschal. Now, we can't tell what we should remember about the Undying without knowing who is the perfumed seneschal, and why is he separated from the others in the prophecy. He's the only one who Quaithe think of as dangerous. If we try to see all the characters who are going to Dany, Marwyn is the only seneschal between them. In Samuel's last chapter, we learn about the seneschal's court, where the seneschal is chosen from all the archmaesters. We see Marwan, after Mr. Ayman told Sam Danny should have a maester. Lady Dustin talked about the effect the maesters had in the north, Lord Manderley saying his maester is spying on him, and after we learn about maesters poisoning people or simply letting them die to get them out of the way. So, when Marwan started to talk about the maesters' shady practices and how dangerous they are, we believed him and didn't ask if Marwan was a part of the dangerous maesters who killed the dragons or want to end magic. We also didn't question what he said, even though everything he said is weird, stupid, and suggests he's most likely to be part of the group that is trying to kill the Targaryens and magic. So, let's see the conversation between Sam and Marwan. Try to see what Marwan knows and what does he think. Why is he dangerous, not only to Danny, but to everyone? And how does Marwan connect the dragons and the others? He tells Sam the Maesters will poison him if he speaks about the dragons, magic, or the others, which we know is a lie. Maesters only poison people whose death won't be questioned. They will never kill a healthy man because they won't get the same influence on the lords of the Seven Kingdoms if they seemed dangerous. Also, we know that Maesters don't kill people for speaking about magic, because Archmaester Marwan studied magic, and Maester Lowen also studied magic. Maesters let people who speak about magic try and fail instead of killing them. Marwan says that the Maesters are the ones who killed the dragons. But how did he know that? It's not like the Maesters are keeping a book that says, this is how we killed the king, and this is how to kill a dragon. The fact that he says Maesters killed the dragons means either he made it up, or he was trusted by the people who killed the dragons enough to know this information. When Sam tells him Maester Aemon would have gone to Danny himself if he was strong enough, and he wanted to tell Old Town to send the Maester to Danny, Marwan says it's a good thing that Aemon is dead, even though at this point in the story everyone knows about Danny and her dragons. When Sam says Maester Aemon believed that Danny is the prince that was promised, she is the one who will stop the others, Marwan's reply to that, a prophecy is a treacherous woman who will bite your dick off when you trust her. So no one should trust prophecy. Quaithe says, Marwan is like the Undying. If we try to see what is the similarities between them, well, they both used magic to get information they shouldn't have had to get closer to Danny. They both have information about Danny's family that are useless, and no one knows if they are even correct. Both have good reasons to want to kill Danny, and both hope the information they stole will get them close to her. So, how do we know Marwan have malicious intents against Danny? Marwan is not a man who believes in wasting time, yet he stayed in Old Town until Sam got there, just in case he missed something in Sam's journey, even though he have glass candles, and he knows about Danny. Thus, we can assume he knows about Danny's situation in Marine. If he thinks Danny is a savior, or he simply wants to keep her alive, then there is nothing Sam can tell him that would justify wasting time in Old Town instead of going to Marine. Especially that a lot of people know how to use the glass candles. So there is no reason for him to stay in Old Town if his intent was to bring Danny to Westeros so she can save the world. Also, Marwan knows about both the dragons and the others, yet he's only interested in the dragons. He's not interested in warning people about the others. and he stopped Sam from telling the maesters about the others attacking. Marwan also left Sam with the people who work for him, so they will keep telling him not to speak about the others because no one will believe him. Sam not warning people about the others because of Marwan is a really important thing. The maesters think Ayman is a blind old man, so they don't believe what he's saying. And John is a bastard who is the brother of a rebel king, the son of a traitor, and he's working with Stannis, so they won't listen to him. If Sam doesn't warn people about the others, no one will believe any message about them. In fact, Sam being highborn and not speaking about the others, even though he's supposed to know they exist, will only encourage the maesters to ignore all the talk about the others. With him going out of his way to stop Sam from warning the citadel about the others and how interested he is in Dany and her dragons, we should ask the question, what does he know and what does he believe in? Now, interestingly, we already know the answer for both questions. We know that the news about the others reached Old Town close to the time the dragon eggs hatched. And we know that a lot of the magic became stronger when the dragon eggs hatched. And a lot of people have correctly attributed their spells becoming stronger to dragons coming back to life, because dragons are seen as a source of magic. It is not a stretch to think the maesters will connect the others attacking with the dragons coming back to life. And thus, if the dragons will die, then the source of magic will die. The source that is giving the others their power. So, should Dany be worried about Marwan? Yes, Marwan is a character that is interested in magic, thinks that prophecies are untrustworthy and self-fulfilling. Going to Dany with the appeal of knowledge and wisdom, with a specific knowledge about how to kill dragons, and he's from a group that claims they killed the dragons in the past.